Joker is having a real moment. There are multiple versions running around in multiple comics, there are multiple Jokers in multiple movies, but for all the exposure that this character gets, how much do we actually know about the guy? This is Today in Nerd History, and today I've got 5 facts most people don't know about the Joker. Number 1. The Dark Knight lifts full scenes from the Joker's first comics appearance. Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker is nothing short of legendary, and The Dark Knight is jam-packed with scene after memorable scene, but while many would assume that the sloppy makeup and the out-there attitude are some kind of alternate take on the character, many things from the film are actually lifted directly from the comics. In fact, this memorable scene is lifted straight from 1940's Batman #1. Both feature the same key beats: the Joker disguising himself as a policeman to get close to his targeted victim, Gotham's organized crime families trying and failing to kill this strange new criminal, the Joker assassinating popular politicians that called for his arrest, Joker escaping prison with a smuggled explosive device. It's hard to tell whether the filmmakers were inspired by this specific story or the thousands of comics inspired by it, but it's incredible to see, nonetheless, what aspects of the Joker stayed true after all of this time. Number 2, he disappeared from the Batman comics for like 4 years, dude. After a moral panic in the 1950s instituted the famous Comics Code Authority, the Clown Prince of Evil was forced to tone down the evil and play up the clown. These Silver Age stories where the Joker didn't kill and was less menacing proceeded to tank his popularity. And worst of all, in the 1960s, industry legend Julius Schwartz was put in charge of the Batman books as editor, and this guy hated the Joker. The results of these changes were that entire years would pass without him making an appearance. The only thing that saved the character was the campy television series that made the colorful goofiness of the post-code Batman stories a selling point instead of an embarrassment. So you actually have Cesar Romero to thank for all those fun comics, where the Joker rips off his own face and kills busloads of orphans. Thanks, Cesar. You're responsible for this. Number 3, Alan Moore hates The Killing Joke. For a good while in the 1980s, Alan Moore was on a creative rampage, stomping his way through the stale DC universe. Besides his gifts as a storyteller, Moore was able to weave in off-limits aspects like the occult, sex, and mental health, while still, and barely, just barely, making it past the censors. Nowadays, the writer claims he was trying to break down the idea of superheroes to make way for the medium to explore new ideas, but laments the fact that it just pushed publishers to indulge in more depraved appetites for their audiences. In multiple interviews, he said things like, "I never really liked my story in The Killing Joke. I think I put far too much melodramatic weight upon a character that was never really designed to carry it. And Brian Boland did a wonderful job on the art, but I don't think it's a very good book. It's not saying anything very interesting." That said, I'm not sure that Alan Moore ever really liked anything, so, take that with a grain of salt. Number 4, Jack Nicholson's deal in 1989's Batman was sweet as hell. It's hard to overstate just how much Tim Burton's Batman did to revitalize the superhero as a cultural figure, and its success paved the way for the more current MCU-dominated timeline that we now live in. And while Jack Nicholson's portrayal of the Joker has been debatably overshadowed by other performances since then, it's safe to say no single human being has benefited more from being the jester of genocide than he has. Back in the late 80s, Nicholson accepted half his usual pay for a blockbuster at the time in exchange for a percentage of the movie's profits. It's the same kind of deal that keeps Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the armor mocap suit. Not only that, but this deal got him a share of the Batman merchandise and the movie's sequel. At this point, Nicholson has earned well over $100 million from his one single performance. Even then, his contract stated that he only had to work finite hours and that he had the day off to attend every LA Lakers game during filming. Who's the real criminal mastermind now, huh? I debate that it is Jack Nicholson, if you could not see where I was going with that. It was pretty obvious, actually. You got it. You understood. You're smart. Not Jack Nicholson smart, though. Number 5. The Joker's origins are, they're stupid. They're kind of dumb. They're stupid. It's stupid, is what it is. I'm sorry. 11 years after his debut, writer Bill Finger formally gave the origin story to Batman's greatest arch-enemy, one that would influence his stories for decades afterwards. But what if that chilling tale of a common criminal warped by noxious toxic chemicals to a grimacing creature who exists beyond logic and morality was way goofier than we think? 1951's The Man Behind the Red Hood is actually a comedic tale of college hijinks and an eye-rollingly obvious mystery unfit for an episode of Scooby-Doo. The entire premise revolves around around Batman being tapped to teach a criminology class at a local college where he and a bunch of one-off Archie rejects are tasked with catching the Red Hood, a villain who had escaped Batman's grasp years earlier. It's 12 pages of fraternity row scamperings and red herrings until the last page, Joker's found tied up in a shed and goes, "Lol, yeah, it was me, I was the Red Hood and I dove into some chemicals at the playing card company where I worked as a lab tech or whatever, ha." I can see now why the mystery of the Joker's origin is so enticing to comics writers and readers. Because the official one is... it is what it is. Which is just stupid. It's stupid. It's really dumb.